Hi friend, I'm twin number 3. Thank you very much for checking out this video. I think you'll find this video to be very interesting and maybe even exciting. I guarantee you're going to hear things that you've never heard before. I'm about to tell you the real meaning of the first chapter of Genesis. For a deeper explanation of why the first part of Genesis is very important to you, please see my channel intro. Now what I'm about to tell you is almost certainly new to you, yet all I'm going to do is simply read the Hebrew. Occasionally I'll add some information from sources that were meant to accompany Genesis. You see, Genesis is only an outline. It was not written to be part of a Bible. Written some 1500 years before the Bible was put together, Genesis attempts to explain what's wrong with the world so that we will understand how to change things. Genesis is an ancient book. It's intended to be universal for everyone, regardless of religion. My goal is simply to tell you what this ancient wisdom says without the filters of dogma. This is a very quick summary. For more details, please see my other videos or message me. I think most people don't want a lot of detail, but I can tell you that there is a tremendous amount of information to support what I'm about to tell you. I do urge you to think for yourself. If you don't have a Bible, you can find a translation, several translations online. Don't take anybody's word for anything that's important. If you have questions or comments or ideas of your own you'd like to share, I'd love to hear them. Please just contact me. So let's jump right in. The very first verse of Genesis actually reads, "In a beginning, creating Elohim of the skies and of the land." Please notice the word is a, not in the beginning. There were beginnings prior to this. We can tell if you go to the next verse, where there are already waters and darkness present before any creating occurs on the first day. Where did the waters and darkness come from? They're leftovers of a previous creation. We know from parallel Hebrew books that there were many creations and they were all destroyed. So this is just the account of a beginning. The next word is creating. That can mean was creating and it was interrupted or destroyed. It can mean is creating. The process is still ongoing. The actual meaning is both. The rest of the sentence reads two ways too. In short, there was a higher deity who created Elohim. These Elohim in turn began creating the skies and the land. Now a second creating begins in chapter 2 of Genesis. Both of these creations are included because they're very relevant to us now. The first two words of Genesis, as traditionally read, can be broken down into three words simply by changing the word break. In that case, the text says, creating, clothed in creating. One creation is clothed in the other. It can also mean that one creation is the scourge of the other. Both of those are true. So while there were many creations, we're told about these two because they're extremely relevant to us. So what are Elohim? There is a gigantic error in Bible translations. They invariably translate Elohim as God, even though the word is plural. Elohim are simply spirits. These particular Elohim are creator spirits, and they're extremely imperfect, as we'll soon see. They are simply deputies. In fact, on the seventh day, the word that is translated as work in English is really deputyship. Okay, here's another important thing to know. In Israelite thought, anything that is complete or perfect has three components. So the physical universe has three parts: the skies, the land, the waters. You'll notice here that this is the creating of only two of the parts. The waters are pre-existing. The Elohim began creating in concert with each other and in alignment with higher deity. On a day one, Yom Echad, which can mean a day of unity, they created one thing, light. This is not physical light. There is no sun or moon yet. I think we can perceive this light in a dampened form during meditation. It's the bright white light. Now something goes very wrong on the second day. This is the one day that is not referred to as being good in the eyes of the Elohim. Before explaining what went wrong, I'll round out the pattern of threes in this chapter. If you look at the creations or functions on days 2 through 5, you'll see that they all occur in sets of 3. There's another set of 3 too, a little hard to see in English, very clear in Hebrew. The days break down into 3 groups. The first one is a day of unity, the first day. Days 2 through 5 go together. That's shown by saying a second day, a third day, a fourth day, a fifth day. And then the last 2 days go together by including the word the 6th day, the 7th day. So the text goes to great lengths to set up the pattern of 3. That pattern fails on the 6th day. But the seeds of failure were set on a second day, the day that was not good. There are 2 divisions on that day, one between upper waters and lower waters. These are idioms that mean male and female reproductive fluids. In other words, we see the creation of heterosexuality. And then the text says that there was a division in heaven. This division affected some of the Elohim. If you jump ahead, you'll see that some of the Elohim say, "Let us make humanity in our image, male and female." The noun and verb are both plural. In other words, some Elohim are male, some are female. Doesn't sound much like the monotheistic God, does it? Elohim doesn't mean God. So some of the Elohim had fragmented into male or female. Remember, something that's complete has 3 parts. The fragmentation of these Elohim is reflected in everything else they do through the 6th day. You'll notice that there's a virtual obsession with procreation. They're like addicts. In a very short chapter, they return over and over and over again to the ideas of seed and fruit. In addition, there are emphases on control, regulation, domination, feeding, getting energy from another life form. None of this sounds very much like the Christian or Jewish conception of God. And in fact, there's not a single ethical command in any of this chapter. Nothing like love your neighbor or even be nice. Furthermore, these fragmented Elohim infect the waters and the land themselves with fertility. It's the waters and the land that bring forth life. Yep, evolution is right there in Genesis 1, the very chapter used by creationists. These life forms are not made by a direct action of Elohim or God. All of this culminates on the 6th day. Remember the pattern of threes? It fails in 2 different ways on this day. On the 6th day, the land animals are made, and there are 3 kinds of those, and then the humans are made. There should be a 3rd category. Furthermore, the humans are flawed. They are only male and female. Where's the 3rd sex or gender? The words male and female in Hebrew are very specialized terms. They essentially mean breeder. The common words for man and woman are ish and isha. These words are zakar and nekeba. Male and female refer to animals or humans in the context of breeding. So we're missing the 3rd sex. If the 6th day matched the pattern of the 3rd day exactly, there should be 6 things here. We might call them genders. That's still a multiple of 3. The Talmud says that there are 6 genders in the whole Bible. In any event, the humans that these Elohim make are only male and female. Put another way, this is a heterosexist world. Now there are other Israelite writings that refer to this. They tell us that Higher Deity was so displeased with a world that had only straight people that Higher Deity decided to destroy this world. So what happened? And what about that 3rd group of beings? I'll tell you next. Please accept my apology though, I'm running out of time on this video. It will take longer to explain than the time I have remaining. So I'm sorry, but please look for a part 2. Thanks for listening. Hey, I told you it would be different than anything you've ever heard, yet it's right there in the text. You can check it out for yourself. So please do look for the rest of the story. It is very relevant to all of us. Thanks again for listening. Blessed be blessed. Take care. I'm twin number 3.